Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday morning, June the 27th, nearing the end of the month of June, and it looks like we have a tropical system that, in my opinion, will become an important player in about 7 or 10 days or so. We'll focus in on the tropics in this morning's video discussion. There are two systems right now, two waves right now that are being monitored by NOAA's National Hurricane Center, and certainly I'm monitoring both of these systems as well. The front runner does not appear to be an important player. It is the one now out over the central part of the tropical Atlantic that I believe will become an important player in about, again, 7 or 10 days or so. And we'll kind of talk about the reasons why that could become a strong hurricane in that time frame during the early part of the month of July. First of all, here are the two locations of the tropical systems. Well, one right here, and it is headed to the west-northwest. Looks like it'll cross over the Yucatan Peninsula region of Mexico. That will, of course, inhibit its chances for substantial development, but nonetheless, it'll spill out over into the Bay of Campeche. The southwestern part of the Gulf of Mexico can kind of re-strengthen a little bit, and it'll throw some decent rainfall for sure into the eastern part of Mexico, maybe again like the prior tropical system into the southern part of Texas. It is this system that I think bears close watching here. Again, I believe it can become an important player. By that I mean a strong tropical storm, maybe even a strong hurricane in about 7 or 10 days or so. It will slowly take this track here to the west, right into the Caribbean Sea. These are the islands on the front end of the Caribbean Sea, and it should spill out over into the Caribbean Sea. And I think the upper part of the atmosphere may become conducive for this system to then kind of slow down in 7 or 10 days or so, and that will allow for some intensification, very warm waters over the not only the Gulf of Mexico but the Caribbean Sea as well. This track is almost assured because there will be very strong high pressure centered over the central Atlantic. Again, clockwise winds around high pressure systems, and that will almost ensure more of a westward track of this system right into the Caribbean Sea. Now, the previous map, we showed the tracks as depicted by NOAA's National Hurricane Center. By the way, they're based out in Miami, Florida. This is from the European ensemble run, the tracks, the multiple tracks on the ensemble members of the European model, going all the way out to July 11th. So this is even beyond 10 days. This is going all the way out to a couple of weeks, and the average is shown right here. And again, I do believe this is the likely course here, more or less west to northwest into the Caribbean Sea, this being the Gulf of Mexico. There are a couple of ensemble members that have it kind of turning to the north and east before ever reaching the eastern seaboard. Probably unlikely. Again, there'll be very strong high pressure right in this region here over the next several days, and that will virtually assure a track into the Caribbean Sea. And of course, being 10 days away or so, it's too early to tell the details of not only the track but the magnitude as well. But there's reason to be concerned because I believe an upper level ridge will start to set up right in this region right here, and that could tend to slow down the system, which may very well allow it to intensify into potentially strong hurricane levels. Well, now I wanted to show a couple of maps of the tropical Atlantic Ocean, both of these coming from University of Wisconsin's tropical website, a very informative website, by the way. And there are two areas, again, two tropical systems, two tropical waves to monitor. This is the first one, the front runner, and it does look more impressive than the second one, which is located right in this region right now. However, this one looks for sure like it'll go over this land area of the Yucatan Peninsula, tending to inhibit its chance for significant intensification. Then it spills out over into the southwestern Gulf of Mexico, and again could very well produce some decent rainfall over the eastern part of Mexico, maybe as far north as the southern part of Texas. It is this system that I believe is in the long run more important than the front runner system. Again, it looks like a track right into the Caribbean Sea, and the conditions may allow for pretty substantial development, intensification, 7, 10, maybe even 14 days from now, likely as a strong tropical storm, maybe even a hurricane, maybe even a strong hurricane. This, by the way, the west coast of Africa. We could see another wave, at least a potential wave here, just now pushing off the west coast of Africa. Well, here's another product from the University of Wisconsin tropical website. They show the desert dry air that comes off the Sahara desert in the northern part of Africa. It's shown here in red. And let's orient ourselves first. Here's the west edge of Africa right here, the west coast of Africa. Here is the wave of interest starting to get itself together here. So a lot of dry air, but mostly to the north here. Again, this is going to take a track in this direction, and it will not have to encounter all that much in the way of dry desert air. There's a little bit here entering the eastern part of the Caribbean Sea. Again, these are the islands on the front end of the Caribbean Sea, but not a heck of a lot of dry air ahead of it. And I do believe that's a favorable sign for potential intensification here. Again, we're talking 7, 10, maybe even 14 days away, but this is certainly a system to monitor. Well, speaking of the ensemble run of the European model, let's take a look at some forecast maps from last night's zero-Z run of the EPS, the ensemble version of the European model. This is 5 days from now. This is beginning here in this loop next Tuesday, because this is the time where that tropical system has entered into the Caribbean Sea. Again, here are the islands in the front end of the Caribbean Sea, very warm waters in the Caribbean Sea. And here's that high pressure system I was alluding to earlier. Very strong high pressure situated over the central part of the Atlantic Ocean, going over the next 5, 7, 10 days or so. Again, generally assuring the westward or west-northwest movement of this system right into the Caribbean Sea. So let's kind of move forward here with last night's zero-Z run of the ensemble version of the European. Again, here is that system in 5 days or so. This is jumping ahead to next Tuesday, July the 2nd, and it continues to move through the Caribbean Sea, and then we're going all the way out now. This is a week from right now, next Thursday, July 4th, the holiday, and it's all the way into the central and western part of the Caribbean Sea here, all the way into the end of next week. This is Friday, July the 5th, and notice very strong high pressure still situated. This is at the surface level now, still situated over the central part of the Atlantic Ocean. So this is all the way out into the middle part of next week, the ending of next week, Friday, July the 5th. We'll go out a couple more days here, and whether or not it cuts right through here, way too early to say. This is Saturday, July the 6th. It's situated right over the Yucatan Peninsula region of Mexico. Way too early to say if that will actually happen, or if we could cut through the Florida Straits here. Something, again, we'll have to closely monitor. Again, very strong high pressure at the surface level over the central part of the Atlantic Ocean will become a key player over the next week to 10 days or so. Now, I wanted to wrap up with the 500 millibar height anomaly forecast maps, again using the same ensemble run of the European model from zero-Z last night. Again, starting at next Tuesday, 5 days out from right now, next Tuesday. Here's the wave depicted at the 500 millibar level as of next Tuesday. And there's a fair amount of high pressure ridging here aloft. This is, again, at the middle part of the atmosphere, the 500 millibar layer here. Now, let's just move forward here in time and watch what happens later next week. We have quite an intense upper level ridge setting up here. It's about a week away from right now, going into now next Thursday, Independence Day. And here's the tropical system as depicted at the 500 millibar level. This is high pressure ridging aloft over the Gulf of Mexico, kind of surrounding this system right here. Again, this is a reason I think it may slow down at this time. You're kind of surrounded by our upper level ridging on both sides here at this time. About a week from right now, this is speculation phase going all the way out, but this is something I'll monitor over the next several days. Then we go towards the end of next week. Here we go into Friday, and Saturday. A lot of high pressure ridging down in this region right here, so it could kind of help to slow down any movement of this system. And again, if it's over warm waters of the Western Caribbean, it very well could allow for significant intensification. So this looks like a tropical system to really closely monitor. And again, likely to become an important player 7 to 10 days out, maybe as much as a couple of weeks down the road here. We're talking about the early to middle part of July. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.